What's up, guys? So today's video is about how I got hired as the youngest sales rep in my previous company. And when I say youngest hired sales rep, I was an account executive in a closing role, and almost everybody had 5 to 10 plus years more of sales experience than I did, and this was across a floor of 50 sales reps. Okay, so when I actually first interviewed with the recruiter, and we had a chat, had a nice chat, and then I asked her what her feedback was, what did she think, and she told me that, um, she thought I was great, but she felt that I was a little green, meaning that I was really young and inexperienced at the time. So she said that she would bring in the VP anyways, and let us have a chat and see where we would go. So the VP came in and we had a chat. We ended up chatting for about 45 minutes. At the end of the 45 minutes, he asked me a question. He said, what kind of a base salary would you want if I were to give you this job? And the recruiter had already told me the base salary was between 40K and 60K. So I said 50K. And a little bit of background, I had actually lost my job that I had that day that paid like 40K or so. And so I was willing to take whatever, but I would have been super happy if it was like a 50K base plus, commissions and stuff. So I told him 50K, and something happened in that moment which caught me completely off guard, which was the VP offered me the job on the spot. And I was completely surprised and elated and was super happy. And I think the reason that happened was because in my interview, I had explained how I had really invested in my own personal and professional development. So I had spent, close to over 10 grand. I mean, probably somewhere between 10 and 20 grand on my own personal development before going into that interview. And I was, going to Tony Robbins conferences. I did like life coaching. I did all this stuff to invest in myself, right? And I think the VP had saw something in me because of that, and also because I had invested in myself. I had invested in a life coach. I had actually learned aspects of sales that most people don't get to learn about until like later, like a little bit more later in their career. So, and this was the concept of spin selling. It comes from a book called Spin Selling, which is a sales methodology or tactic where you ask different types of questions. S stands for situation, P stands for problem, I stands for implication, and N stands for something called needs payoffs. Anyways, without getting too much into it, because of my experience with life coaching, of what does a life coach do? Basically asks you, what your challenges are, how those challenges are going to affect your life if you don't change them, and if you do change them, how would that affect your life? And basically to help you change, right? Well, what does a salesperson do? Well, a good salesperson does the exact same thing. So I'd explained to him, not only was I willing to invest in myself, but I had an understanding of the concepts of spin selling even before I knew they were called spin selling, right? So we did a little role play where I did that, and that led to me getting the job on the spot. So moral of the story here is that it's important to explain aspects of ourselves that are unique or maybe stand out from the regular candidate. And we all have these things. We all have these things. So it's important for you and I to share these things. And it's also important, I think, to highlight to be willing to invest in yourself. Jim Rohn and Tony Robbins' mentor used to say, make sure to work harder on yourself than in your actual job. What that means is to continually invest in yourself, because while a job may come and go, especially in our today's society where people are constantly changing jobs, every couple of years, you're not going to, you might change jobs, but you're going to take you wherever you go. So the best thing you can do is not only work hard on your job, but work even harder on yourself, improving yourself, so that no matter where you go, you're going to be a valuable asset to the organization that you're going to be at. So, I think those are some good takeaways from that experience that I had with my initial interview with my VP being the youngest hire there. I hope you guys got value out of this, and please let me know how these videos and how this content is helping you. I would love to hear, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.